A very good evening to you and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Uctv News. I am Sunday Gloria Aboch. And now, as Uganda hosts the 19th NAM Summit at Speak Resort Munyonyo, civil society organizations led by the Uganda Women's Network, the Forum for Women in Democracy in partnership with the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development have called upon NAM to adhere to the Baku Declaration of the Non-Aligned Movement Conference on advancing the rights and empowerment of women as they host NAM Women's Side event held under the theme Strengthening Women's Rights and Empowerment in NAM Countries.
As civil society organizations and women's rights organizations, we are thrilled to be partnering with the government as part of its dedication to advancing women's rights and empowerment across NAM countries. We know that Uganda has made many strides in the promotion of women's rights. We have made many gains, we have achieved a lot, although we also acknowledge that a lot more needs to be done. This side event, which will be hybrid, will take place tomorrow, 17th January, at the Skies Hotel in Nakuru. We all know that the non-aligned movement that was born in 1961, formalized in 1961, is a coalition of nations that is dedicated to sovereignty and independence and recognizes the critical role that women play in the socio-economic fabric of their countries. In fact, at the 18th summit in Azerbaijan, a firm commitment was made to ensure the addressing of gender equality and women's rights as core to the agenda of the non-aligned movement. But we all know that in spite of the progress that has been made, challenges persist. The context continues to change, and this necessitates a renewed focus on empowering women and safeguarding their rights. So as part of Uganda's presidency of the NAM and her dedication to advancing women's rights, this side event is an inaugural gathering in Uganda around NAM that is specifically dedicated to women. It also symbolizes the growing recognition of the pivotal role that women play in development and in the progress of the NAM countries. So by hosting this side event with the government, Uganda aims to emphasize the importance of prioritizing the critical issues of gender equality and women's empowerment. It is acknowledged that we cannot achieve sustainable development without more than 50% of the population, which is the women.
The non-allied movement came together for self-determination, which in essence includes the safety and well-being of everyone. But in our case, of course, we want to talk about the recognition of the rights and responsibilities of women, and more specifically, the disparities and the discrimination that needs to be acknowledged and addressed by the NAM countries. As a country, Uganda has championed women's rights and gender equality. There is no better time than now for us to host such a big event, the second after the UN General Assembly. This is the second biggest sitting after the UN General Assembly. So as a country and as women of Uganda, we are proud to be part of this gathering to influence the process by advancing women's rights and gender equality. We are also proud that Uganda historically has championed women's rights and gender equality and other processes, including the fight on HIV/AIDS. We hope that as the NAM countries gather here today, we are not only hosting them, but learning how to mainstream gender and women's rights into development agenda, legal and legislative policy processes, but also ensuring the conscientization and mindset change towards the negative cultural social norms against women and girls. The Ministry of Gender together with civil society, attended a meeting, as my colleague Patricia said, last year in Baku, Azerbaijan. And one of the things that we picked as civil society that is glaring in all the NAM countries is that women's rights and gender equality continues to remain a challenge for many of the countries. And together, as civil society organizations, working with our line ministries, we have agreed to join hands in strategizing, intervention, partnership, and implementation on the advocacy around women's rights and gender equality, particularly around violence against women, but more broadly in the social, economic, and political spheres of life, to ensure that development is inclusive of the needs of women and girls and all the other disadvantaged groups.
Theme for NAM is deepening cooperation for shared global affluence. During this summit, Uganda will assume the chairmanship of both the coordinating bureau, and yesterday they already elected Ambassador Ayebare as the chair of the coordinating bureau. Uganda will also assume the chair of the ministerial committee of the NAM and the NAM Heads of State Summit. As you are aware, Uganda is getting the chairmanship from Azerbaijan, and the chairmanship will run for 3 years, 2024 to 2027. During the chairmanship and leadership of Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan initiated 2 important forums: the Youth Forum and the Women's Forum of the Non-Aligned Movement conferences. And so, prior to the Kampala meeting, which is now happening, Azerbaijan, under the chairmanship of His Excellency Ilham Aliyev, convened a meeting for all the women ministers of the NAM member states. This meeting took place in Baku, Azerbaijan, in November 2023, from 20th to 21st. And during that meeting, the president of Azerbaijan presented the progress made in formation of the women's platform and the women's forum of the non-aligned movement, and articulated his commitment to supporting the women's ministers of the NAM member states in coming up with issues that affect women and integrating it in the summit document during the Kampala meeting. This meeting came up with what we call Baku Declaration. The Baku Declaration, number 1, thanked His Excellency, the President of Azerbaijan, Aliyev, for forming the women's platform. Number 2, the women ministers of the member states of non-aligned movement in that conference adopted and endorsed the formation of the women's platform of the non-aligned movement. And also during that meeting, the women ministers requested His Excellency, the President of Azerbaijan, to present the Women's Declaration during the Heads of State Summit, and also requested me, as the Minister in charge of Women's Affairs of Uganda, to update the country, the delegates, and ensure that the Baku Declaration on women's issues are integrated in the summit.
The Chieftaincy of Pension and Gratuity has commenced the retirement sensitization and documentation exercise of 159 out of 162 senior officers under Batch 13B at Non-Commissioned Officers Academy, Jinja. 5 generals and 159 senior officers from the rank of Major to Colonel are slated to be retired from the Uganda People's Defense Forces on the 30th of April 2024.
To really thank you very much for mentoring us and for trusting to leave the Uganda People's Defense Forces with us. I thank you still for leading by example, and I congratulate all of you for having reached this time of retirement. Special thanks really goes to my big sisters, Joyce, Alice, and Mercy. Can you please stand up? Please clap for them. Thank you for opening doors for us. Most of you have received physical medals. Others have received scar medals. Some of you are even going back with our fragments, but it's all in good faith. Thank you very much for the great service that you've given us. Thank you for being of good qualities, being good examples, and most especially, send our gratitude to your families for having allowed you to serve the Uganda People's Defense Forces and having been absent or having been away from your family most of the time. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Now, the UPDF Defense Organizing Committee and Bugweri District Organizing Committee for the 43rd Tarehesita anniversary celebrations due 6th of February 2024 have visited the widow of the late Honorable Cherunda Kivei Jinja, Mama Nakafero Deborah Kerunda, at their home in Buwabe Village in Bugweri District. UPDF Engineers Brigade is rehabilitating the home of the late Cherunda Kivei Jinja as part of the Tarehesita anniversary celebrations. Civil military activities. Bugweri District has been chosen to host the main celebrations of the 43rd Tarehesita anniversary this year. UPDF Engineers Brigade is rehabilitating the widow's home as part of the 43rd Tarehesita activities.
This. And what we did when we came here, we first worked on the water problem. When the team that came here realized there was low pressure inside there, because the tank is placed at a lower point. So what we did, we connected the tank down the water from this point to raise the pressure for that house. So that
this house, why does it?
Okay.
First of all, this one represents
When we were playing all the capsules along the street, okay. Because this is the street coming. Now, then he was what to do with this.
And now it is time to take a look at Today in History. Thank you for watching Uctv News. That is going to take a break and we'll be back shortly.
Uctv, good news for all.
Catch incredible stories of resilience, success.
You can manage dirty money
with a topping of inspiration.
Get interested in people, not interested in yourself.
Inspire, achieve, repeat.
You are watching Uctv, good news for all. For this and more, tune in to Kasese Get Radio 100.5 in Western Region, located at the hill of the Diocese of Kasese. KGR brings you all Catholic programs and an advertising platform in all our radio shows like Good Morning Renzori, Chama Toboka, Ukute, the business show, Propeller, the request show and sports, Evaluation, Bahinga Bakuluka, Late Night Show, and many others. Our other services include Isuzu Tipa, a no car, public address system, live band, Omokekera, an audio recording studio, and outside live broadcast. For more information, call 0773-597-166 or visit our website www.kasesegatradio.com. Kasesegat Radio, Omusondoria, the voice of truth.
It's unbelievable. Now, companies, businesses, and organizations can make bulk payments easily with Centenary Bank's corporate center SWIFT to anyone without the need of a bank account, anywhere, anytime, just like that. The recipient needs only their funds, national ID, and token number received via SMS to withdraw money from any center agent nearby. The Centenary Bank's corporate center SWIFT is simple, secure, and convenient. You think it's too good to be true? Visit any of our branches countrywide or visit www.centenarybank.co.ug to know more. Centenary Bank. Centenary Bank is a member center group regulated by the Bank of Uganda. Customer deposits of up to 10 million shillings are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Terms and conditions apply.
UCTV. Good news for all.
Thank you for watching the Uganda Catholic Television. It has been the Tuesday edition of UCTV News. I am Sunday Gloria Aboch. Good evening and good night.